Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Travis Clemmons, and I want to, on behalf of Glamourcon, welcome you to a discussion on erotica versus pornography. And there are distinct differences between the two, and the two lovely ladies and I are here to discuss these differences and how you define these differences in the printed word, on television and movies, and then in print work, printed pictures, that type of thing. So the lovely blonde to my right here is Miss Sara, and the lovely young Asian beauty here is Miss Akira Lane. And let me sort of start off and kind of monopolize things for a couple of minutes, and then I will let them begin interjecting. Being primarily a writer and a director of stage productions and things like that, from a literary point of view in books, or from a movie point of view, or from a television point of view, I define the difference between erotica and pornography to be very similar to the difference between, on the one hand, epic fiction, epic adventure, epic fantasy, and on the other hand, what's called either shoot 'em up or hack and slash. In epic fiction, epic fantasy, epic adventure, the action that there is, whether it is sex or gunshots or sword fights or that kind of thing, the action that exists, what there is, exists to advance the plot. Whereas in pornography, or in shoot-em-ups, or in hack and slash, what plotting there is, what little bit of interaction between myself and her, or myself and you, or the two of you while my back is turned, or whatever like that, that exists mainly for the purpose of advancing the action. Either the sword play in an adventure, or the laser blasts in a sci-fi movie, or the kissing and the hugging and the sex in pornography. So having defined that from a print or television or movie point of view, I will now shut my stupid mouth for a few moments and let these two step in.
So, do you want to interject well...
Print work.
Print work.
Yes, print work would be good.
Print work, well, first if we can define what's pornography and erotics, because everyone has a different point of view. For me, is doing topless work, print work, is that pornography? I just, you know, if you, for instance, for myself, I have run several websites, so even just showing topless is considered pornography.
Yeah, well, doesn't that though, let me interrupt you rolling, doesn't that though kind of depend upon society?
I think the U.S., by law, I mean, obviously if you're under 18, you're not allowed to see topless photos. But yet, if I have to compare, because you got the print work, and then you have, well, we have commercial televisions. You see a lot of topless now on TV, on mainstream TV.
Especially on like Showtime or HBO or that kind of thing.
Showtime, HBO, exactly.
Yeah.
And so then you're going, okay, well, is it really pornography? Because for me, in our industry, what we do, even within pornography, there's several different levels. There's women who do just imply. Now, you're showing as much body part, but you're not really showing your areola or your vagina or pussy. Is that pornography?
To some it is.
Right.
It's not.
Well, I think that goes to what I was saying about different societies. A lot of people, let's say in the United States or Canada or maybe England or other parts of Europe, would say that, well, that is erotica or eroticism.
Right.
On the other hand, I think pretty much, unless you're just really, really out there, I think a lot of people would say that you know, showing the nipples, showing the vagina, showing penetration, that becomes pornography, and then let's step back from there.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, pornography starts when you start throwing a sexual act into it, like when you're actually performing something where there's some sort of penetration, or like that to me is pornography. I mean, yeah, that's where my line is drawn. But a lot of people think that, you know, my nude work where I'm just standing fully nude is pornography. And I mean, it's all kind of like in everyone's own mind.
Right, how they define it.
Yeah,
Because for
exactly.
me, if I do penthouse style, I have the look of the ooh-ah, as we call that ooh-ah.
Yeah,
pictures.
the O face.
And the O face, ooh-ah, is that pornography?
Can you?
Or is that considered erotic?
Well,
Because for me, pornography is the actual heart,
Right,
of
that's how I
the
feel.
sexual, whether it's a blowjob or the interaction of female-female, male-female, that I consider pornography.
and I think the average person in Western society would agree with that. But
Right.
again, you're going to have different standards throughout the world, and also different standards in individual communities. But before we get any farther, can you give us a brief sort of Reader's Digest description on what the penthouse style is?
Well, are we going with the new penthouse
Yeah, it
style,
depends.
or the old penthouse style, or the middle section? Because I believe the new one right now are really toning back.
There's
There was-
all sorts of stuff.
Because there was a phase where the old penthouse style was, the spreads, meaning your legs are spread open, you can see, the kitty cat, the pussy, or vagina. And I remember as where it was beautiful anatomy of a female, beautifully tastefully done. Then over the years, it became where Penthouse started putting the toys, or some of them even pushed the level of sporting, which is or they had like peen and so forth. Then now it's gone back to where they're starting to go back to the old, but they're still
They're kind of doing a little bit of
a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I think what you're talking about comes into play because of what I've heard referred to as the Playboy penthouse hustler triangle. Okay,
Right.
that Playboy sort of on this imaginary line, starting at the top of her head, going to the top of her head. This was the accepted norm at one point, and then Playboy sort of moved it a bit this way and established a niche and was doing really well. And Penthouse came along and said, okay, we're going to be 2 degrees more risque, and they
Right.
went to here and picked up an audience who thought that Playboy was kind of mild. And Penthouse really had that market for a long time, and then suddenly out of nowhere comes Hustler, who went zoom.
All the way to the end.
And then Penthouse had a problem. It found itself between a rock and a hard place here. And instead of I think increasing the quality of its fiction and its editorials and things like that, like Playboy had always been doing, Penthouse said, okay, well, we've got to compete head-to-head with Hustler. And when they did that, they sort of shot themselves in the foot, because the audience that had been willing to take 2 steps this way to go to Penthouse went, oh no, man, you're too much for me, and they went back to Playboy. And the audience that was locked into Hustler and similar magazines were like, nah, man, you're still too mild. And so they kind of, I think, made, I think for the right reason, they made a wrong decision, and it came back to haunt them.
Right.
And they're still trying to find the comfort zone of what people want to see from them.
Exactly.
And I mean, they're shooting everything from like what I think is Penthouse style, which is just the open leg, the pretty open leg shots, and they're doing full on boy girl porn too. So, and everything in between.
Right.
So it's hard to define Penthouse style anymore. So it's like I have to tell people, if I want to do a Penthouse style shoot, I'm like, this is what I think of Penthouse as.
You pretty much have to put it out for them in print and say, I will agree to this.
No toys, no fingers.
That's right.
No spreading, like that. Just open leg. Like that's what it is to me.